chased out of abandoned hospital by cultists. Hi, heads up, this is my first time posting on Reddit, and I'm sorry if this is not the right subreddit, but it seemed like the best option. Also apologies for any grammatical errors, as English is not my first language and I am still a child. I know the title sounds insane, but believe me, I have doubted and rethought every memory of it I have, burned into my skull, and the more I try to disprove it, the more it seems it's exactly what I thought at the time. This happened around 5th grade, and I remember nothing from the day except the encounter itself, but I will give you the setting. My school was separated into 2 buildings on 2 streets next to each other, separated by a staircase, since the street above the 2 was on a hill. Kinda important later. The lower building was grade 1 to 4 in preschool, and across the street was an abandoned hospital. Being the dumb kids most of my class were, they went in there pretty often, and on that day, the entire class decided to go together. Being a sensible person and having heard all kinds of messed up shit, my parents never believed in sheltering, and I was a Creepypasta fan. I stayed outside, though I offered to watch their backpacks at the fence. Big fucking mistake. Not even 2 minutes later, they ran out, screaming their heads off, and I was frozen in fear when I saw a bunch of tall, angry-looking men dressed head to toe in black chasing them. We split up immediately, me and one fat girl booking it up the stairs. I was glad she came with me because I knew I could run faster than her, and if she got caught, I would be 90% safe. 2 documentaries since 5Y.0 desensitized me. I knew I couldn't go home, so I went to the nearest space I considered safe. The kids' park. Due to the road being on a hill, the entire park was sunk 10 m in the ground and surrounded by houses, so the only way out was a metal gate that cops could easily block with 1 car. It was the middle of the city, so they would be there ASAP, and there would be a lot of witnesses. Perfect. I made it inside, trembling from head to toe as I climbed onto the playing structure as high as I could. My classmates started flooding in soon after, and we saw the men turn at the gate, realizing they couldn't get to us there without getting into serious trouble. I went home once the air cleared, and for some ungodly reason I decided to go back with my knife. My brother got one, and I wouldn't stop whining until my parents got me one too, and again, no concept of sheltering, either to protect my friends or to flex on everybody, because it was a really cool black switchblade with a Chinese dragon on the handle. The only thing that came of that was my bullies mocking me along the lines of, "Oh look, Op can't face anyone without her little knife in hand," and I just remember thinking, do you really think you could defeat a mob of adults unarmed? Luckily, all of us were fine, and I never went in there, thought as I mentioned, I doubted this story many times myself. What if they were just security guarding the property? But wouldn't they then have at least badges or walkie-talkies or something? What really confirmed this story for me was when I told my new friends about it. Adult cosplayers and older teens. A NDTHEYKNEWBOUTTHECULT. It was the sole reason they never had a creepypasta photo shoot there. The teen even went there a couple times, but she always made sure to bring a big weapon like an axe or one of those makeshift flamethrowers so they wouldn't bother her, and them leaving her alone because of that made them even less likely to be security. Wouldn't an armed person be a lot more concerning than a bunch of 12-year-olds? And if they were security, they would definitely follow us to the park, probably assuming our parents were there and we wandered off after asking to get snacks or something. There were about 3 small shops on the way between the 2. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Attempted child kidnapping r/CreepyEncounters. For reference, I don't necessarily remember this story myself since I was pretty young when it happened. My mother told me this story before and it still sends chills down my spine. When I was about 2 years old, my parents went grocery shopping at a market they regularly went to. Even though I was able to walk at the time, I was an airhead and a fairly energetic kid, so my parents always had to put me in the cart seat for children to keep me from running around. It was the end of the day, most likely getting dark or already dark, and we were all pretty tired. We all wanted to go home since we had such a long day. As my parents loaded the car with the rest of the groceries, my father put the cart I was in aside and went inside the car. With both sliding doors open, my mother finished loading the back seat, closed her side door, and went to her seat. I'm guessing my parents didn't say very much to each other at this point. As they began driving, my mom realized I wasn't sitting in my car seat. For whatever reason, my parents forgot me in the parking lot. Whether it was a misunderstanding, a lack of attentiveness, or forgetfulness, my parents were angry and horrified, so they immediately drove back. They finally got back to the parking spot they were at, and to their horror, as they drove up to the cart, it was empty. I was nowhere to be seen, and it had gotten pretty dark around this time. My parents searched frantically, running around, calling my name as loud as they could. They desperately asked others, peeping into cars, and looked into surrounding stores and even the market. It seemed hopeless, and they were about ready to report a missing child. Although, as my parents were questioning a small store in the same plaza, something seemed off. The place was a mess. The owners seemed agitated and in immediate denial of seeing any stranded child. They wanted my parents to leave so they could begin closing for the night. My parents were insistent on any information they could get about my whereabouts, so they were quite stubborn. But as they were all arguing, I heard my mom's voice and I called for her. She could hear my voice from the very back room as well. My mom began screaming at the top of her lungs at this point, demanding they return me to them before they call the police. The owners began defending themselves, saying they couldn't have known they were my real parents, or that the parents were obviously too irresponsible, that they were going to take me to the station anyways, for a more safe place to put me. My parents knew it was complete bull *********, but they just wanted me back and to go home. I don't remember these things actually happening to me, but it still terrifies me. It actually terrifies me more that I don't remember a single thing, because if those owners did have any malicious intent, I wouldn't have remembered where I came from and I would have been in a horrible situation, or worse. I wish my parents called the police or reported it. I'm not sure why they didn't. Regardless, I'm thankful they were so insistent and that they trusted their gut. Thanks for watching Redditslime. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.